Well, hello again. It's Brother Peter with Tidbits from the Word. Back in the book, and this is where we stay, is in the book. We're in the King James Version again, and we're in the book, and we're in chapter 12 of Proverbs, and we're on verse 10. We've got that fire in a couple of excerpts. And this is a thing that God has written for our use and for us to listen to and us to look at. It said, "A righteous man regardeth the life of his beast, but the tender mercies of the wicked are cruel. He that tilleth his land shall be satisfied with bread, but he that followeth vain persons is void of understanding." And what he's saying here is that back years ago, when this was written, it was written for that day, but it's also written for this day and the day to come. And you and I may not go out here and till a garden and can food, but we do have to go to work every day and work with our hands and make a payday. And we're supposed to make a just payday. We're supposed to give. Hey, if you're a Christian, if you're watching this, you probably say, I'm a man that says, Jesus, forgive me of my sin, commit my heart. And that puts you in the class of a Christian. If you're a Christian, you're supposed to give your boss a good day's work. If you go out there and work, whatever you're doing, if you were tilling the land, plowing a garden, running a backhoe, or whatever you're doing, you're supposed to give a good day's work. If you're stocking shelves in a store, you ain't supposed to get in the back and hide and fool around or step out back and smoke more cigarettes than you ought to a day and burn up the man's time. This bothers me to no end that I'm paying a man $25 an hour and he's going to sneak out back 3 times an hour and smoke a cigarette. And he's going to burn up 20 minutes of the time I'm paying him $25 an hour for and smoke cigarettes and then come back in there. When I come back and say, man, I charged that man $25 to paint this door. You've been on it 1 hour and I'm paying you $25 an hour. I've lost the cost of my paint on my varnish. And what happened? Well, and he lies about it and say, well, this or that or this or that. And he didn't say he went out and smoked for 20 minutes. And so, listen, if you are a Christian, give a man the right amount of time. Give him what's due him. If you're plowing for a man or you're planting for a man, do what's right, because it's going to come back and show up. If you're planting for a man and you didn't plant for 40 feet in a row, when them seed starts coming up, there's going to be 40 feet of no produce, no production. You got to have some production in your life. And this is what he's saying. So he's saying right here, do right if you're going to do it. He said, a righteous man regardeth the life of his beast too. That's treat your animal right and treat your stuff right. And it said, but in verse 11, he that tilleth his land shall be satisfied with the bread, but he that followeth vain persons is void of understanding. Let me tell you this. We've got many a person today that have got with the wrong person. I've seen good people get with the wrong person. This very day, my preacher, this very Sunday, this very Sunday, my preacher said this. When he was young, he did good. One day a guy come along playing a guitar and said to him, hey, you're pretty good with a guitar. You come be with us. You come play with us. He said, I went over there to play with him. We walked in that building, he said, I never smelled so much pot in all my life. But he said, I got in that, and I got to playing, and I got to playing the rock and roll, and got to listen to the music, and got running with the crowd. Next thing you know, I'm one of those burning that pot too. He didn't say that, but I'm sure he was. You can't live in it and not use it like the way they were doing. And he ended up in that crowd, and he ended up doing that. Do you know what? If he had never got with those people, he never would have did it. And that's what, the old saying is, if you don't pick a snake up, you'll never get bit by it. And there are a lot of things in life that we need to really be careful about. I'll tell you a little story. I hate wasting this much time, but I'm going to waste it anyway because it has a good moral. You pay attention to what the moral is. The man going up a mountain. There was a snake halfway up the mountain. And the snake said to the man, will you carry me down when you come down? The man said, no, because I won't. You're a snake. You'll bite me. The snake said, no, I won't bite you if you carry me down where it's warm so I can get going again. And the man was on his way down. The snake's still in. The snake said, you going to carry me down, mister? He said, no, if I carry you down, you're a snake. You'll bite me. And the snake said, no, I won't bite you. I won't bite you. So the man picked him up and carried him down. The snake got warmer and warmer and warmer. Pretty soon the snake moved pretty good. He turned around and bit the man. And the man said, you said you wouldn't bite me if I carried you down the hill. And the snake said, you knew I was a snake when you picked me up. And you know what? I'm telling you today, be careful what you pick up. Be careful who you go with. Be careful who you side up with, because you can pick a snake up. Some of us, and I've done it, have picked snakes up on purpose. And some of us have tried to help snakes, and the snake bit us. Be careful who you try to help. Be sure that there's somebody God would have you help, and that you help them the proper way, and you're not involved in something that you shouldn't be involved in. And be very careful what kind of snake you pick up. Don't pick up any snake if you can help it. And so let's get back in the book. Back in the book. He that is despised and hath a servant is better than he that honoreth himself and liketh bread. Listen, it would be better to be despised than to honor yourself. Don't go around beating yourself on the chest. Don't go around being one of them guys that knows everything, does everything, and everything revolves around you. Just don't do that. Verse 10, a righteous man regardeth the life of his beast. Verse 11, verse 12, the wicked desireth the net of evil men, but the root of the righteous yieldeth fruit. If you're going to be righteous, you're going to yield good fruit. You're going to yield some fruit, some type of fruit, somehow. The fruit of the Holy Spirit is patience, long-suffering, gentleness, kindness, meekness, temperance. Temperance. What is temperance? Temperance is something we don't have today. That's why we have road rage today. Road rage is the opposite from temperance. It's temper. And temperance is got the rinse on the end of the temper, and that means it's been rinsed out, if you please, or it's been washed out so that you are tempered properly. And so I understand road rage. I used to be a tempered type man. I used to be a man that throw a tantrum in a second. Run my car out of gas and get out and break the windshield. And by the way, I've seen other cars on the side of the road with broken windshield, and I said, there's another fool. He did the same thing. He ran out of gas and broke his windshield. Now I got to put a windshield as well as tank in the gas in the tank. And so you got to be careful. You need to be careful with your temper. You get out here and destroy something that you got to fix. And verse 14 said, a man shall be satisfied with the good by the fruit of his mouth, and the recompense of a man's hands shall be rendered unto him. Be careful, folks, if you're a Christian, that your hands are doing right. I wanted to have that little song, He's Still Working on Me, or He's Not Finished With Me Yet, when I started these little tidbits, and He is not finished with me yet. And I have to be careful. The little song says, be careful, little hands, what you do. Be careful, eyes, what you see. Be careful, ears, what you hear. Be careful, little tongue, what you say. We gotta be careful. We gotta be careful. I've been saved 40 years. I still say things with my tongue I wished I hadn't said. Still do things with my hands I wished I hadn't did. Still see things with my eye I wished I hadn't saw. Still hear things with my ears I wished I hadn't heard. And you got to be careful. But if a man comes up by you and he's going to tell a dirty joke or something, just say, look, fella, my ears ain't no trash can. I don't want to hear that trash. And I see our time's come and gone again. This is Brother Peter with Tidbits from the Word. I sure do hope you're enjoying listen to these as much as I'm enjoying doing them. All